Hello and welcome to Along the Edge. This is a visual novel, or as the shop page says, an interactive graphic novel, and supposed to be a mystery story taking place in the European countryside. I don't know that much more about the game, so let's just take a look in the tutorial first. I had a quick glance in here. So let's check out the introduction. Along the Edge is an interactive graphic novel. During your adventure, you will be asked to make choices that will define how your story progresses. Some of these choices will have direct consequences, forking the story in one direction instead of another. However, each of your decisions, even the most insignificant, will have an impact on the personality of the main character, Daphne. When one of your decisions influences Daphne's personality, one or two symbols light up at the top of the screen. The star, the globe, the sun, the moon. In Along the Edge, your decisions are neither good nor bad. However, the sum of your choices always lead to different scenarios. It's impossible to lose in Along the Edge. The branching of the story opens different narrative hypotheses, shaping your adventure according to your choices. Your progress is saved automatically. You won't be able to change the decisions you've made. Choose wisely. Okay, and these are just the controls. I'm playing with just my mouse. And the only other thing I know from the description was that apparently the look of Daphne also changes based on your decision, so that's interesting. But yeah, without further ado, let's start Along the Edge. Oh, it's the same introduction again, okay. The star, the globe, the sun, and the moon. Interested to see what that means. So, you're determined then? Yes. I think I need a fresh start. This inheritance, it's the perfect opportunity to finally turn the page. I know you've convinced yourself of that, but are you sure you really know what you wish to achieve with this move? After all, you recently went through a major trauma, and there's still a lot of ground to cover. Between you and me, you know what I think of your decision, but I can't prevent you from leaving. Have you found a job there yet? Yes, I have. Substituting for a math teacher at the village middle school. A maternity leave. 6 months. That should give me enough time to get my bearings. Don't you mind giving up your PhD? Your research career was quite promising. Oh, first choice already. Okay. No, I do, but I have no choice. I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. I don't know. I guess if it turns out to be a mistake, I can always come back. There's no harm in giving it a shot. I see. One last thing. I know your relationship with Frank is quite tense. It is. You know, the breakup's still recent, and I always counted on his support. After so many years together, I need time. I suppose you're aware that you're about to break all ties with him, probably for good. Are you sure you won't regret it later? Did you at least inform him of your plans? He knows it's none of his business anymore. It's not that easy. If it's a recent breakup, I mean, we don't know the cause yet, but I'll say I would have told him. He knows. Yes, I did. It wasn't easy, but he had the right to know.
It must have been hard for you to tell him, but you did the right thing. Listen, Daphne, you've got my number. Please, don't be afraid to call me if you feel the need. I'm counting on you.
Okay, I will.
Then I suppose all I can do is wish you the best. When are you leaving?
Tomorrow. Chapter 1. August. I'm leaving tomorrow. I've inherited the family house, my grandmother's. I didn't know her, and now I never will. My mother had cut all her ties with that side of the family. The only side, since I never knew who my father was. I remember the birthday cards, though. My mother had hidden them between 2 piles of laundry in the linen closet. If the bond was broken, it wasn't my grandmother's fault. And here I am, 10 years later, inheriting a big house 300 miles away, when I too have severed all contact with my own mother. That's what they call karma, isn't it? The other PhD students asked me to meet them at the bar. I could also go to see Frank to say goodbye. Of course, I could also just go home. What should I do? Go to Frank's flat, go to the bar, or go home? I'll go to Frank's. I'm kind of interested, even if they broke up, you don't know, as I said, we don't know why. And yeah, if he was such an important part in her life, I'd say we go say goodbye to him. I took one bus, then another. Then I walked, and my steps brought me back to the old apartment Frank and I used to share. I hesitated a few seconds before pressing the buzzer. No answer. I don't know whether to feel relieved or disappointed. I try again, to no avail. I may as well go home and finish packing then. It's too late to go to the bar. That's it. Everything I own is packed in a couple of boxes. I wish I felt sad about leaving, but actually, I don't really care. My last night here, I don't know what I hope to find there. A fresh start? That's what I'm trying to convince myself. Perhaps Dr. Durand is right. Maybe I'm just avoiding the real issue. Did my mother feel the same way when she left my grandmother's village 30 years ago? Am I following in her footsteps, despite myself? The difference is that she had me. Me, I'm alone. I'm overthinking this. I've taken my decision. I can't afford to go back. I can't undo what I've done. I'll try to get some sleep. 300 miles. I got up way too early. It's going to be a long journey. Little by little, civilization slowly gives way to empty spaces. The highway is replaced by interlacing small roads, and the clear directions given on the major routes become a hit-and-miss search for clues, which gets more and more arduous as I near my destination. The road goes through the village, which I cross in a few moments. I thought I was getting away from the agitation of the city, but all this peace and serenity feels like it's hiding something sinister, almost ominous. After a couple of miles, I turn onto a dirt track overrun with weeds. I go through the gates marking the limits of the family domain. Then, on the right, I see a small stone house. That must be the lodge where the wardens, a couple, live. It was specified in the estate accounts the notary made me sign. I decide to leave the car there. I don't feel like driving all the way back in reverse if the track turns out to be a dead end. Walking a bit further, I see a man coming toward me. He's carrying a rifle and holds a dead rabbit by the ears.
Hello, miss. You're on private property. Did you take a wrong turn?
Okay, we can ask for directions or apologize. I mean, he doesn't seem to accuse us or anything, so I'm just gonna ask for directions. Hello, I'm looking for the De la Tour family domain. Am I in the right place?
Oh, you're not lost then. Why are you here?
I'm Daphne, Adelaide's granddaughter.
Gérard Bourtine. I'm the warden. Nobody told me you were coming.
Is the house open?
No. Well, yes. It's been a couple of months now since Mrs. de la Tour passed away. My wife Gilbert, I'm not sure, sorry. Gilbert and I, we've made sure everything's weatherproofed. But the door isn't locked.
Really?
Well, the only path goes past our house and there aren't many visitors anyway. The villagers usually avoid coming up here, you know.
Why is a good question. I understand. I'm gonna be curious. Oh, a son decision, I see. Why do they avoid the house?
People get worked up over nothing around here. An old lady living alone in a big house who doesn't go out much, that's enough to make them talk.
Yeah, that's why I don't really want to live in a village, among other reasons, but okay. Thank you. I'll be in the house if you're looking for me.
I'll send you my wife, Gilbert. She'll help you open the shutters. Just follow the path. It's not very far and you can't get lost.
All right. Goodbye, Mr. Bourtine. Have a nice day. These background paintings are really pretty, by the way.
And they made quite a lot. Like even for that small scene back then when he was coming towards us with the rifle. It's interesting.
About 100 yards further on, the path in the woods ends, and I see the house, standing in a kind of clearing. Although several generations of de la Tour have lived here, for me this is the first time I've seen the estate. The building is impressive, with the tower at the center of the facade, the last vestige of an earlier castle, and surely the origin of my family name. As promised, the door isn't locked and opens onto an entrance hall plunged in darkness. As I cross the threshold, the chill of the old stones strikes me, slicing through the searing heat of the midday sun shining over the garden. Despite the gloom, I can make out the edges of the room, intimidating in its vastness, which makes a change from the tiny city apartments I'm used to. I'm struggling to open one of the windows to let the light in, when a voice from the entrance startles me. Miss? An old woman stands at the threshold. Yes? My husband told me you were coming to the house. Are you planning to stay for the night? Much more than the night. I'm moving in. Oh, and please call me Daphne. I'll get more than enough miss when I start working at the school. Did they tell you about the succession? So you're Madame's granddaughter then. She used to talk about you a lot, you know. I remember you. Well,
I mean, it was a long time ago. You were still a baby when Miss Sophie left. Madame never got over it. Well, I'm sure you've got a lot to tell me, but can you do it while you help me open the shutters? Oh, of course, I'm sorry. So, are you moving into the castle? You're going to work in the village school, aren't you? Yes, I'm a math teacher. I'm going to teach there. Well, at least for the next 6 months as a substitute. So, tell me, how do you want to do this? I mean, I know you've been working for my grandmother, but I'm not sure I can afford your services. If you see what I mean. The inheritance barely left me enough to cover the costs of the house for a couple of years. Oh, don't worry. Gerard and I retired 2 years ago, but Madame didn't forget us in her will. She was kind enough to leave us the lodge to live out our days. That's nice. We'll help for as long as we're able, my husband and I. We've done this all our life. Hard work doesn't scare us. Anyway, we'd be bored with nothing to do all day. All right, your help will be very welcome, but I can't ask you to work for free. I mean, both of these are true. I mean, it sounds like she's already made up her mind, so I'll just accept the help. Oh, a moon decision? Okay. That's great news. Without help, I don't know how I'd managed to get everything done in such a big house. And we'll be happy to give you a hand. Would you like me to get you some groceries from the market tomorrow? I used to do it for Madame. She didn't go out much, not after Miss Sophie left. No, don't worry, I'll go. It'll give me a chance to check the village out. Mrs. Bourtine helps me put clean sheets on my bed. The windows, now wide open, let out the musty air while ushering in the golden light of the summer evening's setting sun. When she leaves me alone for my first night in my new home, then... I spent the evening watching the antique television in the kitchen while eating a leftover sandwich I'd bought earlier on the highway. I tried to sleep, far from the reassuring sounds of the cars and the lights of the city, the forest silence only broken by the unsettling squeak of floorboards and the hoot of a hunting owl. I'm predictably grouchy the next morning, and if the sight of the empty fridge hadn't driven me to action, I would have succumbed to the inviting comfort of the sofa and wasted my day napping in the living room. The market. It wasn't exactly what I had imagined. We all have romantic notions of picturesque little country markets, but this one was purely functional. Nothing romantic about the butcher's stall nor the fishmonger's radio, tuned in far too loud to a local station that seems to broadcast at this hour of the day a playlist of songs that used to be popular but are now utterly outdated. I'm buying some bread when someone barges in front of me. Give me 3 baguettes and 2 loaves of nut bread. Sliced, please. I'm sorry, but I believe it was my turn. This will only take an instant, don't worry. Rude much. Keep calm, get worked up. I don't know, I'm really annoyed at this, but first proper day in town, let's just keep calm. I don't care if it takes an instant or 10 minutes. If you... You're not from around here, are you? What does that have to do with anything? Listen, miss, you really ought to educate yourself before you start making a scene. It's kind of embarrassing.
What do you mean a scene? You were cutting the line. Jeez.
See, I'm done already. It didn't take that long, did it? Have a nice day.
It's not really the point, dude. The man slips a bill into the baker's hand before disappearing down the street. Seriously, who was that guy? You're not from around here, are you? He's Maltaire's son. His family owns the sawmill that employs half the town, and the other half are all in business with them, one way or another. Does that give him the right to behave like that? You shouldn't cross the Maltaires, you know. They've been in town for generations, and people say all sorts of things about them. What kind of things? Strange accidents, businesses suddenly going bankrupt. People are pretty superstitious here. It's ridiculous. Really, it's messed up. I'll say it's ridiculous. Oh, okay, so she wasn't believing in the... I see. I don't believe in that stuff. What about you? What do you think? I think it's none of my business. I'm leaving the area soon, so you understand I don't want to get involved. The others told me to watch out for that family, and I don't want any trouble. I see. Okay, I didn't really know that. I didn't realize that answer meant that I'm not believing in supernatural things, question mark? We'll see. I realize I've already been here a few days and I haven't taken the time to visit the house properly yet. With my busy schedule, I've confined myself to the main rooms, going from the bedroom to the kitchen or the living room. I ought to take advantage of the weekend to give myself the grand tour. That's strange. I'm sorry, but you inherited this huge house and you didn't immediately take in everything? I mean, wouldn't you? Like, at least look at every room once? I don't know. I would try to look at everything. Like, right away. Maybe I'll learn more about my grandmother in this family that I know so little about. Yeah, exactly. I could try asking Mrs. Bourtine a few questions too. Up till now, she's been very evasive. If I go see her outside her work hours, she might be more inclined to answer me. She's a very discreet woman. Somehow she manages to never be in the same room as me. If I leave the kitchen for a while, to take a shower for example, when I come back I always find the debris from my breakfast has been cleared away, the table has been wiped, and the dishwasher is gently humming. I've told her several times not to make my bed, that I'm perfectly capable of doing it myself. She acknowledges me, but keeps on making it anyway. Okay, that I would find a bit intrusive. I mean, in general, having someone clean up after you already sounds a bit uncomfortable for me, just because I'm not used to it. But yeah, if you specifically told someone not to do something, that's... I don't know, I think that's not okay. I guess she might enjoy a friendly visit. Where should I start? Okay, check my mother's old bedroom, check the tower, question Mrs. Bourtine. I'm really curious about the house, so I must check the bedroom first. My grandmother lived alone in this big house, so she kept most of the rooms shut and just stayed on the ground floor on the left side of the building. I've taken over her living quarters and, with the nights getting colder, I'm glad I don't have to keep the whole house warm. I look over the other rooms, the parlors on the ground floor and the multiple bedrooms above. Everything seems frozen in time. The furniture is covered with white linen sheets, perhaps waiting for better days to return. like the days before Adelaide was a widow when my mother still lived under her roof. Her old bedroom hasn't changed. It's still the room of a teenage girl. Even if I can see that someone had hastily made room for me, the baby about to be born. There are still band posters from another age pinned to the walls and the crib where I might have spent my first few nights before my mother decided to leave. But there aren't any white linen sheets to protect the furniture in this room, and it looks as though it has been cleaned up very recently. What should I do next? Still checking the house, sorry. I couldn't find the entrance to the tower. I searched inside and outside the house, but no door seems to lead into it. After randomly exploring the corridors and the rooms, I had to admit defeat. I'll have to ask Mrs. Bourtine about this mystery. However, while I was searching for the damn entrance, my feet took me down to the basement, where I discovered a treasure trove of old wines. The most recent bottles were around 30 years old. I guess my grandmother wasn't much of a drinker, and the wine cellar must have remained untouched since her husband passed away. Did my mother come here during her teen years, defying her parents' rules to steal a bottle to share with her friends from the village? Was I conceived during one of those parties, celebrated by sacrificing these rare vintages on the altar of youth, with my mother, Sophie, not sober enough to resist the charms of some local young farmer? When I was old enough to ask her, she always told me, with a dismissive wave of her hand, that my father was from the village and hadn't wanted to recognize a child he hadn't asked for. All in all, she said, we were better off without him. Maybe I could bring a bottle to Mrs. Bourtine. Take a bottle or don't take a bottle? I'm going to take one. As I take a bottle from its shelf to decipher its dusty label, it slips from my hands and smashes on the ground. Suddenly, I am overwhelmed by the feeling, as though I was violating something sacred, trampling the memory of my grandfather, who might have selected this precise vintage to celebrate something special. I begin to question my intentions. Am I offering this bottle as an honest mark of affection toward a kind old lady, or am I planning to get Mrs. Bourtine drunk so that I can extract information from her? What? I was going to be kind. Okay. Wait, was this supposed to be some kind of warning that I'm not going to take another bottle? No, this isn't my style, and I'm not sure it would be such a good idea to get drunk in the middle of the day. Okay. What should I do next? Well, we're going to question Mrs. Bourtine. Good morning, Mrs. Bourtine. How are you doing? Oh, hello, Miss Daphne. My joints ache a bit today. It must be the colder weather. Summer always goes so fast. It's almost fall already. Can you believe it? But that's enough about me. You haven't come round here to listen to an old woman complaining about her aches and pains. How can I help you, miss? About the mother's bedroom, about the tower. Tell me what it was like in the old days. I want to know about all of these. Yeah, let's start with the old days. Tell me what it was like in the old days. Before my mom left, I mean. The end was already in sight when your mother left, if I may say so, miss. There were only your grandmother, Madame Adelaide, and Miss Sophie living here. Your grandfather died when your mother was still a little girl. An illness that took him without warning. The doctors couldn't do anything for the poor man. But back when I arrived here, things were different. There were lots of people living in the castle. Cousins, uncles, aunts, and a whole gaggle of children. So, what happened? I don't really know, it just happened. There were unexplained deaths, accidents. Some of them left the area and we never heard from them again. Everything started to go downhill when the Maltese bought the sawmill. What's the connection? There must be a connection. That's the big question, huh? Is it? Come on, it must be. It seems crazy, but there must be a connection, don't you think? It can't be a coincidence, can it? I couldn't say, miss. All I know is that when the Maltese flourish, the de la Tour winter. I met Maltese's son at the bakery. That loud? It's none of my business, of course, but you should be careful of him. He's a good-for-nothing who spends his time doing goodness knows what in his car. I don't judge people, but I agree with you, like the first impression he left was absolutely terrible, so yeah. You're right, he acted like a jerk with me. Ah, you see, exactly my point. Now, while we're talking about the past, maybe you'd like to see the old photo albums? Absolutely. Tell me where they are and I'll take a look at them. Thanks. They're in the cupboard in the living room, you'll see. There are even some of your great-grandfather's old photos. Something else? Yeah, I'll ask about the bedroom. I've visited the house, gone into every room, and I noticed all the furniture has been covered with white linen sheets. Yes, it was Madame, your grandmother, who asked me to close most of the rooms. She lived alone in the house and she never had any visitors. It was to prevent the furniture from being damaged. Why are you asking? Do you want me to open up the rest of the house? No, that's not why I was asking. One of the rooms, I'm guessing it was my mother's old bedroom. Why wasn't it closed, like the others? It was what Madame wanted. You know, when Miss Sophie left, it broke her heart. She was never the same afterwards. Until the day she died, she never gave up hope that your mother would come back. She asked me to make up her room every day. Just in case, she'd say. Something else? Yes, that tower, please. I couldn't find the entrance of the tower. Do you know how to get inside? Well, I couldn't say, miss. No, I couldn't tell you how to get in if my life depended on it. Madame, your grandmother said that it had been walled up and that we were better off not knowing what was inside. Do you mean that no one's been inside the tower for, 30 years? 40? Goodness me, much more than that. I'm 67. I've been living here since I was 14, and the tower's always been that way. So, nobody knows what's in the tower? But surely you must have some idea, don't you? You must have heard talk in the village, right? Well, it's just gossip, a waste of breath is what it is. What are you talking about? Please don't press me, miss. With all due respect, I won't dirty your late grandmother's name with that nonsense. Something else? No. See you later. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I'll come back later. What should I do next? Look at the photo albums. Well, we already questioned her enough, so I think we can look at the photo albums. But I'll think we'll do that next time. That was an interesting start. A lot of mystery indeed, and not only the village at all, but the tower already. Okay. Yeah. So far so good. And until next time. Bye bye!